Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is a glorious sunny day today. Winter is upon us for the most part, and it is nice and cool outside. Today I'll be doing a video where I discuss the maintenance requirements of a hobby grower who's growing in a greenhouse. Someone asked me, one of my subscribers asked me, how do I maintain the greenhouse? Now, the first thing you might notice is this is my outside. And this, on the inside of my patio, is my greenhouse. I chose not to have it out there in the yard. And while this is obviously exposed to the elements, the first reason I chose to do this is we actually have snow here, quite heavy snow, and it gets really cold. Negative temperatures for a long time, for not months, not sustained, but it drops low enough where I personally will not be going out onto the lawn or other people's, or out into the lawn to actually go deal with a greenhouse. I don't want to. There are those that do that, and I don't. So the first thing I did is I chose to have my greenhouse more on the inside. And full disclosure, I used to have the little tiny hobby greenhouses, and I'd keep it inside my house, literally inside the house, where I could completely control the interior by having it as humid as I want and as bright as I want with the lighting. So here are the guys today. Today is approximately 26 degrees outside, and we're heading in. Over there, my hygrometer and thermometer is telling me it is 81 degrees in the greenhouse, and I don't know what my humidity is at right now. I think it might be at around 21% because I do not have my humidifier full nor even on. So step one with the hobby greenhouse, which I kind of consider to be very frustrating, is the lighting. You have to consider what you're willing to invest in lighting. Now, I happen to have these hobbyist LED units. They're approximately 18 inches wide and 18 inches long by 3 inches wide. And I had them on every level at one point when they were inside the house. I don't out here. Because this is in the sunroom, the top portions of the greenhouse itself do not get direct lighting as I would prefer. The medium portions on these shelves get direct lighting, and so I don't bother to overlight everything. Now, if you have your greenhouse inside, it would probably be beneficial to have the lighting on each rung of your shelves. Now that we're talking about lighting, personally, if you're growing indoors, or even in a greenhouse that's not directly in direct sunshine all the time, I would suggest that your plants are kept very close to the window itself, especially if you're indoors. You don't want to be any further than 12 to 14 inches away from the window itself. If you're that far away, you're going to encounter lower blooming frequency. Now, if you have a sunroom or a room with lots of windows, no matter what latitude you are, it might definitely be enough if you're on the eastern side, western side, or the southern exposure. Now, northern exposure tends to be problematic for blooming for some people. Now, in the comments, if you're growing in a northern exposure in your house, please let me know how it goes for your lighting and your bloom frequency. I've never grown in a northern exposure, so I don't know what that would be like. In addition, I happen to put my plants that need the highest amount of light next to the highest light sources, which, goes without saying. Now here, I have a Hoya right next to the LEDs. This guy does not need that much lighting. It happens to just be hanging here because it's hanging here. I really could put it somewhere else, because a Vanda could probably take more light than it does. However, it's not suffering. It's fine. So one day if I need to, I'll move it. Okay. As you can see on the lower levels, the lower lit areas have the lower light requirement plants, like the Hoyas. like the Phalaenopsis, which as you can see here, this guy is branching, blooming, and growing a keiki all at the same time. We have our epiphyllum right here, lower light, of course, Hoyas, Phalaenopsis, and they are in spike at this time of year. This one is for some reason deciding to open up its blooms already. And because of the temperature, the color on this one is definitely off. It's interesting. So yes, keep your plants closer to the light exposure if your unit or area that you're growing is not in at least 6 to 8 hours of sun all day long, okay? I also have with the vandas, by the way, if you have younger vandas, don't put them too close to the highlighting. Keep the bigger ones that are more mature, that need the higher light, in that highlight area, because the baby ones are not going to be blooming anyway. They're just focusing on growth, right? Here we have a dendrobium who's blooming. This should be Dendrobium Fancy Angel Lychee. Guys, if you're into the lime, sweet lime scent, Dendrobium Fancy Angel Lychee is one that you will absolutely adore. This one is a baby. It's very small. Let me show you. See? But it's blooming. Flower is trapped, but yeah, whatever. And this one is gonna give me lots of buds. I have this one here. Who are you? Akatsuki. Who was this one? I haven't even seen this in so long it didn't bloom. Comet King Akatsuki. Yeah. So I'm excited about seeing this one bloom. It has lots of buds coming. So back to the lighting. Here at the back of the greenhouse, I have only one shelf back here that has lighting at all, because it is really just, oops, full of a lot of phals. The phals don't mind the lower lighting, as you can see. We have a Rhamboinensis here, perfuming the entire greenhouse with its spicy floral fragrance. Yum. And we have Phalaenopsis Samara Blue here, still blooming her one flower at the time. This one is a super granny floral for now. Hopefully it will change. Now over here you can see, pointing southerly, I have my Hoyas here. They're not under any lighting. And right next to the glass is another younger Vanda right there. And right here, all the Vandas are directly facing south, which you want, because once they're mature enough, you want them to be getting as much light as possible during the day. Right here, we're gonna have a first, is this my Ploin Pit Prize? Will be giving me the first bloom of this plant, because it spiked one year and the cold spell caused it to just blast. We have our Neophenitia falcata cross Denisoniana in bloom and spike. The fragrance on this is extremely strong at night, predominantly Denisoniana at night, and in the day it is spicy and sweet, probably coming from the Neophenitia. So this isn't about blooms, by the way, guys. It's about greenhouse maintenance. But as you can see, the blooms are out. I should talk about them in a little bit, shouldn't I? Right? Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about the types of lights. I did show you the panels. These are the most affordable. They're LED and they last for a very long time. I think I change these out maybe every 4 to 5 years. They don't need to go much longer than that, because some of the little units will stop glowing. Yeah. This one is an industrial garage light, and it has, here we go, 5 of these LED panels, and it shines light all around the greenhouse. It is perfection. Ooh, in here smells so good, guys. So good, so good. Anyway, another aspect of the greenhouse for those who are doing a hobby greenhouse is the heating. I personally am using an oil-powered heater that is electric. My units are plugged into a GCF unit outside, because obviously inside you have high humidity sometimes. Mine is rarely ever high. This is Ohio, zone 6. But they're meant to be able to tolerate the high humidity. and the water. So you want a GCF outlet that is powerful enough to maintain at least an electrical unit. Some people have greenhouse heaters that are dedicated to being used in greenhouses. I don't use that. I don't. This is an 8 by 8, 8 feet by 8 feet, and I don't think I need that. But anyway, keep in mind with your heaters that you need to keep the temperature in line with what the season is. Do not attempt to heat the greenhouse higher than it would be in a natural winter environment. The other day, I had to turn up the heat in here to 98 to get the greenhouse to be 56 degrees warm, because outside was very cold, like it was about 9, and I hadn't yet wrapped the greenhouse in bubble wrap. So this heater was just completely inefficient without the greenhouse being bubble wrapped, which of course prevents the heat from escaping through the little gaps in the greenhouse. Now you don't want the place completely, airtight. There's little spaces for the air to vent in a greenhouse, and it should be maintained. But I tell you guys, when it's cold, just the heater alone will not work. I do have to insulate the greenhouse. In addition to the heat sources, I also use heat mats for the most sensitive plants in the greenhouse, which happens to be some of my species Phalaenopsis and the species crosses. I don't bother with the Dendrobium because they can take it, strangely enough. And the Vandas over the years, outside of that one freeze where literally almost all of them died, Vandas are remarkably resilient, strangely enough. And yeah, I don't worry about them too much. Now let me show you what I was talking about for the bubble wrap. This material here, what is this? I don't even know. Plexiglass? Whatever. It doesn't hold the heat at all. So once every 2 years, I have to come and I wrap the greenhouse in bubble wrap, as you can see. It's literally taped on, and the concept of the bubble wrap is it traps layers of heat between the plexiglass and the bubble wrap itself, as you can see. So the air kind of goes up in it, and it is trapped in these little holes here and then between the plexiglass. This all the way from the bottom all the way to the top, all the way over. Yes, guys, I'm able to pan up to the top of my greenhouse. I am 6 feet tall, so I can show it to you. Anyway, yeah. So it's all around, literally all around the entire greenhouse. So that is another requirement of greenhouse growing when it's exposed to the elements. This here was the source of one of my winter freezes. I closed the house one day, the greenhouse, and this door didn't close properly, and I had this gap. And just from that gap, I had a line of plants that died that was directly in the path of the draft. How strange, huh? So yeah, that's one of the negatives with the greenhouse being on the outside. You have to be concerned about maintaining the temperature and the humidity properly. This is my humidity. The high was 21. The low was 16. This is because I did not refill my humidifier. You need to keep up with that, guys. My plants, however, have been acclimated to the very low humidity. They, so far, do not suffer, and this includes very sensitive Hoyas who like to pout when it's too humid. But that's only because mine are really accustomed to it. And I'm growing cacti in here, Hoyas in here, some succulents. Yeah, this is a succulent here, and Aloenopsis rubrolineata, which is a winter grower. It's waking up right now, by the way. We have our Stapelia right here growing. So I'm growing a whole bunch of different types of plants, which should be in different environments, and they're not. They're all in the same environment. So also remember, guys, to try things out if you're interested, and don't be worried too much about, oh, my environment cannot take it. It probably can. Plants are more resilient than you realize, okay? I even have the Hawaiian plumeria in here, which should go to sleep, but in here is too warm, so this dwarf deciduous is staying awake. It should not. I might take it inside the house to force it to go to sleep. So that's for keeping the place heated. You need your mats, you need your heater, you need the bubble wrap, you need the lighting. Humidifiers. I happen to have a 2-gallon unit because I don't like changing this out too frequently. Yes, guys, my fan literally has rust. This is not a greenhouse fan. But that's what I'm using. So anyway, this needs to be filled up most of the time to keep the place, in the very least, in the 50s or 60s. But to be honest, your plants really can tolerate it. It would be best if they were in higher humidity, but they can and they do tolerate it. I mean, as long as you water to their heart's desire, that what they require is being met, they will deal with the lower humidity just fine. Okay, don't worry too much about that. So you need a humidifier, which is emptied at least every 2 to 3 days, or like me, I put it goes dry and I don't come back for another 5 days. Don't do that. It's horrible. Okay, but I'm telling you, they won't die. They'll be fine. In addition to the heat, the light, there's the air circulation. I have a regular rotating fan on the ground, which does not appreciate the humidity. It does rust it. Yeah, there's that. I had one that I had mounted up here, a little tiny one, but it wasn't enough. So this one does just fine. It's fine. The plants move. It's circulating around. And that's fine. The one downfall is the cleaning as well. When your plants shed their leaves, there's at least some sweeping up. At least once a week. Right now they're not shedding. This one, I totally missed the bloom of my lovely Ripsalis pilocarpa. It was in full bloom, and I did not come out here because it was cold, and I'm like, you know what, I'm good, and I did not want to come out here, sadly. But this year, its lemony goodness was a spectacular show. It unfortunately was missed by you guys. I'm sorry. The next thing it will be doing is creating fruit. Now guys, so that's the cleanup. I have buckets under here to catch the water when I water in place. There's times I don't take the plants outside to water them. I literally water in place. So I water them and the water dribbles all the way down and gets caught by the buckets, which I will take up and empty. Look at my cat outside digging up the... Ferdinand! Stop it! Stop digging off the bubble wrap! Look at him. I don't even know if you can see him. Can you see him? Ferdinand! Must you? So anyway, yes, you water and the water catches in the buckets. That's how I do it. You don't have to do it that way, but I don't take these out the entire winter. If it gets warm, like 45 to 50, then I will drag them outside and water them. If not, they're watered right here in place and the water just dribbles all the way down. The other option is to water and let the water collect right here in their trays, and I let it dry just like that. I leave them sitting in their water, and because it's so humid, I can do that. Now if you're in a more humid area, allowing your plants to sit in the water is not a good idea, okay? But for these who are constantly dehydrated, right now they're fine. They can tolerate sitting in the water. In fact, they actually like it. So I'm looking at this right now. I will need to water soon. But, oops, see, the roots are still green on this guy because I watered about, was it like 4 days ago? Yeah. So that's it, guys, for the greenhouse maintenance. Have to keep the humidity up. Your chores are generally a lot of sweeping, even if you're on the inside or outside. The heat is a constant journey, but remember to keep it within the range of the plants that you're growing. Don't keep it too hot. For me, this is at 81 in here. It's actually a bit too warm. I might lower it still. But to keep that's at 81, I turned it down because right now my temperature is set at 74 and in here is 81. So I could still stand to turn this down a little bit more because it's heating very efficiently my 8x8 space. Yes, guys, this is a DeLonghi electric unit. It has a set clock and a timer so that I really don't have to do much but set it when to turn on and off, and that's it. So this is the greenhouse growing for the hobby grower. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, on how I care for my greenhouse inside a sunroom and why I chose not to actually put it out in the yard, because the temperature control would be a bit more difficult out there as well. Thank you guys for watching, for subscribing, and I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing, the content on this channel. If this is at all helpful to you, please consider sharing this with someone you know. Now, if you like what you see, consider hitting the like button. If you don't like it, consider hitting the dislike button so that I know what you're interested in or not interested in at all. Guys, have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you're currently having a great day. Thanks for watching. Take care. Goodbye.